was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Hey, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high. I'm serious. I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why.
Turn this shit off.
Yeah, because I got high.
Keep going.
Because I got high.
Hey, do that over,
because
man.
I got high.
Come on, man. Don't come on. Come on, man.
Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high. Say what, say what, say what, say what. Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I'ma stop singing this song because I'm high. Present tense, baby. I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high. Bring it back, bring it back. And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man. Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah. Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Yeah. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could've cheated and I could've passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da da da. make love to you, but then I got high.
Help me sing. I'm serious.
I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why.
Turn this shit off.
Yeah, because I got high.
Keep going.
Because I got high.
Hey, do that over,
Because
man.
I got high.
Hey, come on, man. Come on.
Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high.
Say what?
Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk and I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La 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 da da da. I'ma stop singing this song because I'm high. Present tense,
Baby.
I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high.
Bring it back.
And if I don't sell one copy, I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high.
Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man.
Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah.
Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Oh, bring it back. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good.
La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high.
Come on, y'all.
Check it out. I could have cheated and I could have passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because
U.S.-Venezuela situation. Do you
Well,
anticipate
I
any
have to give credit and a sort of backhanded credit to Kamla Persad Bissessar for that, because she fired a shot across the bow of Caricom even before they could meet and discuss. When she issued a statement saying that Trinidad and Tobago has no intention of engaging Caricom on this matter, what does that say to a chairman of Caricom? What is that saying to a secretary general of Caricom? When a founding member state, a leading voice, a leading light in Caricom says from the onset, it has no intention of engaging with Caricom on this important matter, and then went on to say each member state can speak for themselves on this issue. So that really was, I believe, deliberate and strategic attempt and decision to vaccinate, inoculate this issue from the prospect of CARICOM forming consensus or solidarity on the matter. And
tell the world that we have entered into an arrangement, to tell Venezuela that we have entered into an arrangement, to tell Guyana and to tell Caricom that this picture is representative of an action that we've taken with the head of Southcom, Admiral Halsey, and it's about us creating an environment where the United States can place troops in Trinidad and Tobago to respond to instability in Venezuela. Whoever did this is not acting in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And let me tell you why. I am so disturbed about this. You will recall, and let me tell you why. I am so is not acting in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And let me tell you why. Is not acting in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is not acting in the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And let me tell you why. I am so disturbed about this. You will recall, not too long ago, there was a situation where the United States government led arguments, OAS and the European Union, about regime change in Venezuela. And it got very heated, and it got to the point where people were expecting physical action. The European Union had given Maduro 8 days to leave office. The Canadians had said to us in Caricom, time for talk over. And our question was, time for what now? And of course, the United States had its view on Venezuela. And the details, you carried it in your media, you know all about it. How did Trinidad and Tobago react to that situation? Trinidad and Tobago, as a leader in Caricom on that matter, took a leadership role to preserve the Caribbean as a zone of peace. And we headed to New York. The Prime Minister of Barbados and myself, we went to the office of the Secretary General of the United Nations to take a different position on the Venezuelan issue. We didn't stop there. We, again, Trinidad and Tobago, and this time the larger CARICOM, we went to Uruguay and took part in generating the Montevideo Accord, which was meant to prevent any instance of the breach of the peace in the Caribbean, supported by Mexico and Norway. All along, Trinidad and Tobago had a leadership role in that matter. And every stage of the game, you all in the media knew what your country's position was. You knew what the dangers were. You knew what we were fighting off. You know what the successes were and what the failures were. I made my first visit to the UN General Assembly and spoke of Trinidad and Tobago's position on this matter. So the media in Trinidad and Tobago, you know our position. Why then would you convert that firm stand of your country to create a situation? What has changed to cause Trinidad and Tobago to be a platform for foreign troops on its territory in response to a Venezuelan situation? When in fact, only days ago, the Trinidad and Tobago for foreign troops on its territory in response to a Venezuelan situation. When in fact, only days ago, the Trinidad and Tobago minister in the office of the Prime Minister was in Caracas, talking to the Venezuelan leadership, as we talk to them all the time, and the Americans and others, because I was in Barbados talking to the American leadership. And CARICOM, as a unit, we cover and protect ourselves by standing on the defense of Caricom Caribbean is a zone of peace, and we are not supporting anybody's military excursion. What exactly happened in Trinidad and Tobago in the last 48 hours? This picture has nothing to do with any Venezuelan issue. This has everything to do with the relationship between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States, which is a very good one. And of course, the conversations that we've had, if you listen, and in fact, the very paper that carries the story, carries the details of what was said by Admiral Halsey about the issues that brought him here and the issues that were discussed and the commitment to cooperate with Trinidad and Tobago on matters, not the least of which is national security. That's what it's about. The local press cannot pretend not to know that our security agencies rely very heavily on the cooperation that they have with the United States. Many instances, the actions that we take here or actions that are taken in our interest outside our border in the region has to do with information or physical assets of foreign countries, not the least of which is the United States, helping us to protect ourselves because we don't have the ability to have as many assets out there or to have the intelligence as to who is going to harm us. And you read in the story what Admiral Halsey has said, as far as to talk about criminal elements coming from South America and threatening us now. I mentioned that from this podium recently. You would have seen during the COVID period when the rest of the nation didn't have vaccines. Among the first vaccines we got were some that came from a United States military agency to our defense force because of the relationship
Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, incoming chair of Caricom, to deliver his remarks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Good morning to all. Let me first of all recognize Your Excellency Abiy Ahmed Ali, Prime Minister of this great country, Your Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union. Let me also recognize Your Excellency Parfait Onanga Ayanga, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General. Allow me also to recognize Your Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. And allow me to recognize also Her Excellency Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of Caricom. Other heads of delegation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. But allow me to also recognize, speaking on behalf of the Caribbean community, the Rastafari community of the Caribbean, who for many years has asked us to meet with our African brothers and sisters and forge a relationship that would ensure prosperity for our people. Today, as I stand here and came here by air, as I landed in this most beautiful country, it dawned on me that our history in the Caribbean did not start 400 years ago with the slave trade, but indeed we are connected to the cradle of civilization, the cradle of humanity, Africa, Ethiopia. It is indeed an absolute delight to greet you on behalf of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community at this second Caricom Africa Summit being held in the Nelson Mandela Hall here at the headquarters of the African Union. Ethiopia, the land of origins, reflects the family ties and bonds shared between the people of the Caribbean community and the continent of Africa. While these linkages were forged from an exploitative and oppressive system that made a mockery of human rights, the Caribbean is proud of the strides made in strengthening these connections through Pan-African advocacy, the fight against apartheid, and closer social and cultural links between the people of Africa and the Caribbean, supported by the respective decisions of the African Union and Caribbean community. Today's first in-person meeting, since we met virtually for the first time in 2021, is timely in reinforcing the bonds between Africa and the Caribbean, as well as in examining ways in which to deepen our partnership at the global and strategic levels. This will allow us to deepen South-South cooperation while fostering shared prosperity and affirming a common voice on global platforms, including on global peace, security, reform, and multilateral issues such as climate change. As we meet under the theme of transcontinental partnership in pursuit of reparatory justice for Africans and people of African descent, we are reminded of the important outcome from the first Africa Caricom Summit hosted by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, on 7th September 2021. The Caribbean community expresses sincere thanks and its deep appreciation to His Excellency Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of this great country, not only for the excellent arrangements and hospitality to us here in Addis, but also for the commitment made with the Honorable Mia Ahmad Motley Prime Minister of Barbados to hold this second summit. This engagement will allow for broader discussion on the 2024 AU Caricom Memorandum of Understanding and upscale engagement and linkages with people of African descent, particularly the strengthening of interregional economic partnerships and enhanced people-to-people ties. Convey thanks to His Excellency João Renko, President of Angola, person of the African Union, for the support given to this engagement. Excellencies, our discussions today should allow us to come to a common understanding and collaboration on a wide range of issues pertinent to our shared.
What happened? The video froze up. Alright, this one was kind of boring. He actually has a second one. Not this. There we go. This was actually a pretty good video where they actually talked about some of the the plans we have.
Punched above our weight in the creative space. Reggae music. Bob Marley. Everybody knows that. We also know, coming from the Caribbean, the steel pan, which is the only instrument that was invented in the 20th century. So it means, therefore, that there's so much room for growth even when it comes to the creatives. In healthcare, in sports, what I'm basically saying is that there are opportunities in every sphere of our development because our trade today only represents 1% with Africa, and with global Africa, that will only go up. And so as I wrap up today, I want to bring a message from the Caribbean that we are much integrated and we are much interested in bringing a greater relationship with Africa as the continent and its sixth region. This will help us to create opportunities for our people and to rewrite a history, but a history not written by them, but a history written by us, for us, by us, for our own interests. And I will finally wrap up by saying, there are a few quotes that I heard today, and one of them came from the president, and he said that the African population is a youthful population. While other regions are aging, Africa is blooming. That is a great opportunity that we should take advantage of. I listened also to President Orama, and he quoted a great African leader, and he said, political power without economic power is glorified servitude. Those words are tremendous. And I listened to the deputy of the African Union when she said, if we don't trust ourselves, in a sense, then we can't expect others to trust us. And my final quote as I make a call to action, that the train of the African upliftment and movement is moving. And I ask all of us to join it. Thank you very much.
Yes, welcome back, brothers and sisters.
Alright, I don't want to hear you. This was a role that Trinidad and Tobago was supposed to be the head of. We were supposed to be at the forefront of this African summit right here. Let me see if my mic is on. Yep, my mic is on. Remember when Kamla vowed to fight for reparations just a few months ago? Remember when she was running for elections? Reparations was actually part of their manifesto. So now her first chance, her first tangible chance where she could have gone and set up some kind of infrastructure for reparations, because the stuff they were discussing at the African summit was either direct cash reparation payments, which they were against, or they were talking about building up the infrastructure in each respective country, um, with the knowledge of climate change. So they were more pushing for the Western countries, to do reparations, because we gave them free labor. By with slavery, what they gained from us was free labor. We built up their countries. We took care of their children. We plowed the land. We gave blood, sweat, and tears for these people, and in return, we got nothing. And reparations is actually something that from a government perspective, I have not even heard the Trinidad government even talk about it. And when you present this to the people, you get laughed at, like what. So part of what I want to do is I want to try to educate people on why reparations justice is necessary, because Trinidad has had oil for the past 100 years, and what have we done with that? We have let Western nations come into our country, enrich a select few, and while the rest of the people are poor. And as I don't I think I didn't tell you what got, well, I mentioned this on the Workers' Right platform. What got me into politics? I was very interested in United States politics at the start, and as I was doing ancestry, I was doing research on my family tree. Because my uncle, who passed away a couple of years ago, his passion was actually going around and building an accurate genealogical tree for the Raphael family. And I met him like about 10 years ago, and he sent me all of his data. And his stuff, the stuff that he sent me was all like in typewritten form, because there were no computers back then when he was doing this stuff. But it was all neatly typed out. Like it had the name of the mother, the name of the father, the name of the children, and the name of their grandfathers and their parents or whatever. And this went back a few generations. So what I did, my mission was to take this stuff that he had in paper form and digitize it. So I looked up this genealogical software. I think it was My Heritage at the time, and I started like filling out the members of the family that he had from the data that he gave me. And it was a pretty huge family, the Raphaels. My name is Glasgow, but I'm actually the son of Royal Raphael, and I are what you would call a horn child. So most of my life, growing up, I was not a part of the Raphael family. So when he did this, it was like a welcoming m- motion for me. It felt like. So he brought me in with open arms. He gave me this bunch of work to do. So I started like getting into the family history, and so then I took a blood test, and I sent it into my heritage, and I found out that I have links to white people, like German and Austrian, and maybe I should pull that up. That might be a good idea. All right, let's see if I can do this. Perfect. So now I go to the other slide. Yeah. I want to show you my login. Hang on a second. Let me get into here. play some music in the meanwhile.
Cause I got
Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh,
la da 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 la da da la 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 la. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high.
come on, y'all.
Check it out. I could have cheated and I could have passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one.
I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high.
No, you wasn't.
They took my whole paycheck, and I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high.
I'm serious, man.
I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high.
Help me sing. I'm serious.
I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why.
Turn this shit off.
Yeah, because I got high.
Keep going.
Because I got high.
Hey, do that over, man.
Because
Keep
I
going.
got high.
Hey, come on, man. Don't. Hey, come on.
Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high.
Say what? Say what? Say what? Say what?
Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk, and I know why.
Why, man?
Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.
Okay, I'm back. So as I was saying, so I started doing my family tree. All of this here is from the data that my passed away uncle gave me. It's a really extensive family tree. And at some point, using DNA, it branched off into like a whole bunch of white people. I think somewhere above over here. And yeah, so I was telling you all why I got into politics in the first place. Where is this? Hold on. Excellent. I have to look at this screen. It's kind of hard, like manipulating the like multiple screens at one time. Anyway, so as I'm doing my family research, I got to like a roadblock at a certain point. There was this slave called Sam Looney, and I wonder if I could show you all this. Let's go. Yeah. Something is not right. I think because I didn't pay the bill, my tree is all disconnected. But this is like I'm descended from Sam Looney, and in order to find out, like once when you're doing like genealogical research like this, the best you can hope to do is get up to the record of where they got off the ship when they were transported over as slaves. But anything past that, like if you wanna like find out your African roots, your African history, like forget about it. The only way you can really accomplish that task is through DNA. And I took the DNA test, And let me see if I can show you all that. This is so crazy. But before with this screen right here, what they will show you is like a world map and where you originated from. And with me, I have a it showed that I'm Ethiopian or Nigerian. It's actually really cool. So I'm deviating again. If you feel like calling in, feel free to call in. The numbers on the screen: 347-791-3311, using WhatsApp. All right. To my one viewer, thank you for for still being here. Anyway, so doing research into my family tree, I found out that they wrote a book on this person Sam Looney, and so in order to get the 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 uh, the the descendants of Sam Looney, I had to go read this book, and just to get these names that I showed you a little while ago. Here, let me see. Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, so I had when I read the book, that's when I got all of these extra names around here. Because one thing the slave masters used to do is they used to keep records of the slaves they had and their offspring. So whoever this guy's slave master was did a book on him, and in the book was like all of descendants. So I had to go read through this whole book just to get these peoples right here. And Sergeant Ezekiel Looney was a real badass. He was one of the slaves that was freed from the Louisiana Promise. He freed his family. No, first he freed himself, came to Trinidad, then he went back to the Louisiana, fought a little bit, got his family, then came back to Trinidad with his family. And from what I understand, Sam Looney played a big role in Trinidadian history. So my main point was reading that book. There was a chapter in it where they were talking about voting rights for black individuals. This was like in the 1800s. And I realized, wait a minute, this same stuff you guys were talking about 100 years ago, you are actually talking about now in 2021. And so that turned me off from the whole United States ever changing through political means. And I told you, I had this friend called Jean Paul, and we started chatting with each other on Facebook, and he was telling me about the stuff that's happening in Trinidad and Trinidad politics. And he described some really disgusting, corrupt acts, like especially the stuff that's going on in the Beetham estate. Like the government knows that the people of the Beetham are being poisoned, and there's like a cancer spike in the Beetham because that the entire soil in the area of the Beetham is contaminated from the poisons they dump in the landfill that comes right over to them. So there is a cancer spike in the Beetham estates. So what is supposed to happen if we had a real government is everybody that's living in that area will be cleared out, moved over to other places that are safer for them, and that whole area turned into, like, I don't know, some industrial park or some anything that doesn't deal with access to water, because that entire water or crops or fertilization or anything like that, because that entire Beetham estate is polluted, and it's causing extra deaths in people, and the government does nothing about it. So John Paul told me about this, and I'm like, I was shocked. And he then just started to describe different levels of corruption, and basically that the entire country is totally corrupt, and there's nothing we can do to save Trinidad except an armed revolution. And I kind of at that point, now I agree that Trinidad needs an armed revolution to get back to where we were, because we had a failed revolution in 1970 when those college students acted up, but they were crushed by the government. So Trinidadians never actually fought for their independence. We never put blood on the ground for our freedom. And I forgot what I was going with, where I was going with this train of thought. Oh, so Jumper was saying that Trinidad, the only way Trinidad could be fixed is if we have an armed revolution and the people actually rise up and take back what is theirs. So that from that point on, with that information, in addition to the stuff I had learned about United States politics, because I'm really really into politics, I just decided that I should learn everything I can about Trinidad, what's going on in the country, and learn for myself, like the so-called corruption that my friend was telling me about, and the stuff that I've discovered in the past 2 years. And well, I started this journey listening to a program called The Ground Report. And when I first was with The Ground Report, I was actually linked up with this guy, Philip Edward Alexander. I had volunteered myself to be his computer guy. So like I built a couple websites for Philip. Like you can see it right now if you go on the web. Philip Philip will fix it. That was a site that I built for him, in addition to a site for Satish, where he asked me to build a database for him, and I took it upon myself to change that simple database into like a whole shopping website. So while I was dealing with Philip, I told him about the ground report, and I was like, "Listen, this is a program where Trinis where we could actually make an influence in your party." And he was like, "Nah, man, forget them. That is paid UNC propaganda." So Philip Alexander told me back then that the ground report was paid UNC propaganda and to stay away from them. I ignored him, and instead, what I did, um, I would I was actually pushing Philip to create bots back then, like automated artificial intelligence bots, where we could go on to Twitter and do posts for Twitter and on social media and influence chats. So I started to teach him on how to do that, and I set up one for him. And so what I started to do is I went into the all of the like social media chats that I could find. Like Ian Allen had like he had like whenever he goes online, he has like a crowd of 7,000 people in his chat. So what I would do on my own, I would go in and start pushing messages about Philip Edward Alexander, that he's so great, that this is a man, like you gotta listen to what he's saying. So I became like the social media advocate for Philip when he was with the PEP in the young before he like I would say like a good year before he hooked up with the UNC. Like we was trying to and he lost that election. I was trying to amp up his social media presence. And while working with him, I kept telling him that I need a team of people to work with. I need like 10 guys, and just the 10 of us, all of we can get together and plan like social media campaigns, like swarm chats and stuff like that, and just push the pep message. So he referred me over to Satish Ramsaran. And then when Satish couldn't get the job done because, like I said, I needed 10 people to help me complete this mission. And I set up like a whole Discord chat for him, all sectioned out and decked out and customized and everything. And I'm like, I need 10 people and we will organize this campaign. It took me months, and after Satish, they referred me to two other people. Um, this lady with no arm and another Indian girl, and none of them. What I experienced while dealing with Philip was nothing but disorganization. Nobody knew what was doing. Like there was no communication, and even though I was texting and communicating with Philip on a personal level, he wasn't communicating what the messages that I was saying to his team. So whenever I went to a new team member, like Satish would refer me to somebody else, and this one would refer me to someone else, and all this time, every time I go to a new member, I would have to re-explain my mission all over from scratch to them. So it got a point that I got frustrated with him, and I'm anti-capitalist. I'm more a communist, socialist-minded person, and I started teaching Philip about stuff that was happening on the global stage because one time on WhatsApp chat, I sent him some video about some thing that was happening. Hold on. I remember I sent him a video about some incident that happened on the world stage, and he was like, "Oh, where is this happening?" And send me more of this. So basically, um, so what we got into then was like I started collecting like international news, and every so often like I would just send it to Philip. Like anything that would happen global, like on the global stage that could affect Trinidad and Tobago politics, I would send it to Philip. And I also had my agenda where I was trying to get him away from being a capitalist and teaching him about communism and socialism. So like my messages like will be toned, it will be all anti-United States. It will be, and did the war in Ukraine start then? It was, yeah. The war in Ukraine did start it back then, and I was sending him like images from the war and teaching him like trying to teach him how bad this country, the United States, is. It's nothing to deal with. And then he would get on social media, and I remember one time I called in, and I would ask him questions because one of the things we would do is like when he would go live, I would call in and ask like so-called intelligence questions, for the viewers or whatever. So I asked him this question about what is the stance on capitalism, and he said some shit. So after all the stuff I had taught him, he was like, "I'm capitalist to the bone. I am a capitalist, and I am about some shit." He said about, "Oh, I'm for fear capitalism." Da, 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 da. And that from that point on, I saw this man wasn't learning, and he wasn't listening to my messages, and I got like turned off from him a bit. And one time on YouTube chat, he went on spilling some pro United States stuff, and in the chat I started like talking shit about him, like what the fuck are you doing, whatever, and he blocked me. So from that point on, in my head, and then again I saw this also on Facebook also. Philip is a politician, and one good thing that I like about Twitter is Twitter has this policy where politicians cannot block citizens whatsoever. You have to, you as a politician, you have to deal with speech from both sides of the aisle. You have to deal with speech from people that love you. You have to deal with speech from people that hate you, and you have to be somehow be the mediating voice between these two people and somehow convince them to get onto your agenda. But Philip was with this and back then there was this craze, oh, let's block whoever, block anybody give you problems, block them. And what blocking actually does is it prevents you from communicating with that person. It prevents you from seeing another perspective, from listening to another person's views. And I seen him like blocking citizens on Facebook, and I spoke out about it. I'm like, why are you doing this? As a politician, it is your duty to 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 hear the voice of both sides of your citizens. And then he blocked me. So from that point on, I became an enemy of Philip Edward Alexander. And I don't know if you guys remember back then, he was um he was like, I would never bend. And remember all of the stuff that he used to be telling us about the UNC back then, how corrupt this party was. And he would never join. And look at what he did. So anyway, let's get back to focus. Let's talk about Venezuela and what just happened recently. So the United States of America has bombed another boat. So here we have another boat that's traveling we don't know where. So much suspense. And then boom. My God. So these are more civilian deaths. I would love to hear what the leader of Trinidad will have to say about this. Kamla Persad Bissessar. So another boat has been bombed. So here they are clowning in Venezuela for a ship that broke down in the waters. I wanna see if there's more news on this bombing here. This happened an hour ago. So from Twitter, the United States war on fishermen will be an epic narrated in every international tribunal. Yes, please. So what Donald Trump is doing right now, according to international law, are war crimes. He is going against international law, going against Congress, going against logic, and he is killing Venezuelan citizens in an effort to provoke Nicolas Maduro into retaliating. And if Nicolas Maduro, I don't know, I don't know how, if I was the leader of Venezuela, what I would do. I think if I was Nicolas Maduro and I knew I had the power of Russia, China, and Iran with me, I would go ahead and provoke the United States into an attack, because what you see happening right now is China and Russia, and I'm not sure about Iran, but those two countries have voiced their support for Venezuela. And in addition to that, they've already started to ship heavy weapons over to Venezuela, advanced weapons that the United States does not have. And we look at Venezuela like us as Trinidadians. We look at Venezuela as this poor, do no too good country, but unbeknownst to you, Venezuela has been silently arming itself to the teeth. Like, and I'm not talking like conventional United States weapons. I'm talking about hypersonic missiles. Russia, I mean, excuse me, Venezuela, right now is producing rockets and drones for Iran. There are actually drone and rocket manufacturing facilities inside of Venezuela. So we looking at this country as if the United States, yes, the United States can go in and lob as many bombs as it wants against the country, but they're going to need justification to do that. And if Nicolas Maduro attacks United States warship on international waters, even though he is provoked, that action will provoke a response from the United States Congress, especially if Maduro goes and sinks a United States warship. That would provoke the United States Congress to declare an act of war against the country of Venezuela, and Maduro knows this. So he has to gauge his actions very carefully. And one thing about the Venezuelan military is they are very powerful, they are very motivated. Like, this is their first war. Oh, let me show you this. And I want to show you the level of this. You might look at this as a psyop on what Nicolas Maduro is doing to the Venezuelan people. But I look at this as a tribute to a great man. Where the fuck is it? Hold on a second. First, let me play you this. Check this out. I'm just talking about the power of Venezuela.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Permiso para hablar con usted y darle parte por el personal en formación. Adelante. Presentes ante Dios y cubierto con el manto sagrado del indio Macarao, le entrego a usted y a la patria 1003 combatientes bolivarianos, revolucionarios, socialistas, antiimperialistas, antioligárquicos y hoy más que nunca de corazón profundamente chavistas, dotados, entrenados y equipados y materializando la auténtica y perfecta función popular militar policial. Hoy mi comandante en jefe, cuando somos asediados por el imperio más genocida en la historia de la humanidad, los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica, los operadores especiales revolucionarios, nos colocamos en la primera línea de batalla para defender la patria de Bolívar y Chávez. Que lo sepan los nacidos y los que están por nacer, que Venezuela nació para vencer y jamás, pero nunca jamás, para ser vencida. Si tenemos que entregar la vida, la entregaremos.
Le hablo nuevamente al pueblo de los Estados Unidos.
Okay, this slide is the Venezuelan defense minister saying, why do you want to send your boys to die in Venezuela? And I kind of agree with him.
Estados Unidos. Madres, abuelas, familiares. ¿Tiene sentido crear una guerra innecesaria, injusta, fabricada con mentiras? ¿Es necesario abrir un nuevo frente y volver ustedes a recibir cuerpos en urnas, en bolsas negras, de retorno a sus casas? Es necesario hacerlo. Yo le digo al pueblo de los Estados Unidos, es importante que la administración, los que administran el gobierno de los Estados Unidos, respondan esas preguntas que estoy completamente seguro que el pueblo de los Estados Unidos los inquieta. ¿Cómo es posible que la contribución del pueblo de Estados Unidos, los contribuyentes, estén pagando para realizar operaciones de alto costo? Hay que verle el costo al despliegue de un destructor de esta naturaleza. Hay que verle el costo del uso de un misil para destruir una embarcación. Hay que verle el costo que representa el despliegue de un buque de este nivel. ¿Para qué? Para amedrentar a pescadores, humildes pescadores. ¿Para combatir qué? El narcotráfico. ¿Se combate el narcotráfico realmente con un destructor? ¿Con misiles Tomahawk, misiles guiados? ¿Se combate así en la mar? Pues no.
drug trafficking be solved with a Tomahawk missile? That is a legitimate question. Because at the end of every drug transaction, at the end of this whole tale of manufacturing drugs and transportation or whatever, at the end of the line is a willing transaction between a buyer and a seller. So if the United States has a problem with drugs, the first problem would not be to combat the people who is selling it. It should be to combat the people who are using it. And sending a missile to a fisherman boat, or even let's say it was drug smugglers. Let's say you have a boat of a speedboat with 11 people in it. Where is the space for the drugs? Right? When you're a drug smuggler and you're smuggling drugs over international water, your maximum what your goals are is speed and weight. You want to have the maximum amount of drugs delivered to a certain location in the shortest amount of time. And using speedboats, you can sometimes, well, it depends on the kind of radar system that they have deployed in the ocean. Speedboats are very successful in navigating waters because of the way radar is situated, and sometimes you can actually get stuff off the ocean. It's very difficult. You have to have a special kind of radar system to do that. And so what this guy, this defense minister, is trying to say is you can't combat the drug trade with Tomahawk missiles by blowing up one freaking boat. And Venezuela is not the main source of drugs into America. Well, we'll get into that in a later slide, but the sources of drugs that go into the Americas come from Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. And you know what, let's finish this video. I'll talk about that after. Put a pin in that.
No se combate así. Lo que se está buscando es agredir a un país y provocar un cambio de régimen. No es una lucha contra el narcotráfico, es una verdadera farsa. Y le digo también a los soldados, que son hombres y mujeres así como nosotros, de carne y hueso, de los Estados Unidos, soldados de Estados Unidos, ¿se prestan ustedes para hacer una actividad tan bochornosa como esta? ¿No piensan ustedes que se está maltratando su honor militar, que es una de las cosas que nos mueve a los militares, el honor? ¿No creen ustedes que lo están mandando al sacrificio como carnes de cañón, a una guerra sin sentido para ustedes, que no les pertenece a ustedes, que es ajena a ustedes? No hay guerra todavía, pero si la producen, no tiene sentido para ustedes.
You hear that? If you produce a war, bring it. This man is not fucking playing around. He's not joking around, right? And we got Venezuela, who got friends like Iran and Russia. This so-called they want. You see, the reason why they label Nicolas Maduro as a terrorist is because you have to dehumanize him in the eyes of the world first, because if you label him as a drug dealer, as a terrorist, it becomes easier to overthrow him, because the leaders, the people that are listening to you would not look at him as a legitimate leader if you demonize this man as a drug dealer. So this made up, this farce, this fiction that Nicolas Maduro is the head of a gang called Tren de Aragua. Actually, let's talk about Tren de Aragua right now. Hold on, let me bring up that slide for you. So Tren de Aragua is a prison gang that is based in Venezuela, and in 2019, the Venezuelan government went in and totally dismantled Tren de Aragua. So Tren de Aragua, in the eyes of the Venezuelan government, Venezuelan people, does not exist. Here it is right here. The United States intelligence community says it does not believe President Nicolas Maduro directs Tren de Aragua, TDA, a criminal gang that operates in the United States, in a newly declassified redacted memo. Oh, I glad I brought this slide up. So I think it was in January, in a memo that came out from the Central Intelligence Agency, it stated that Nicolas Maduro is not in charge of any drug gang in Venezuela. They actually said this in internal memos. And here we are. Yeah, I already said this. It does not believe that Trinidad. So in the April 7 memo obtained by the Freedom of Press Foundation on May 5th and shared with NPR News, shows that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence concluded that while some members of the Maduro regime may tolerate or work with Tren de Aragua, there is no evidence of widespread organized cooperation. The Maduro regime probably does not have a policy of cooperating with TDA and is not directing TDA movement to and operations in the United States. In fact, the memo states, Maduro and top Venezuelan officials viewed the gang as a threat. The memo states that the Intelligence Council has not observed the regime directing TDA, including to push migrants to the United States, which is something Trump has been saying, that Venezuela emptied its prisons and sent all those prisoners to the border. I don't know. I would tend to, judging from the actions of the Venezuelans when they came to America and the criminal industries they started in America, I would tend to believe that part. Right, has not observed the regime directing TDA, including to push migrants to the United States, which probably would require extensive coordination and funding between regime entities and TDA leaders. So it does not happen. They do not exist. And in 2019, the Venezuelan government went in and cleaned up the TDA gang. So like I said, the TDA is a gang that is based out of Venezuelan prisons. And if you might have seen movies in the past where mostly based on the United States, where like in prisons, like the guys would be cooking and have all these extra amenities or whatever. So they had like a swimming pool, and in addition to prostitutes in and out of the prison, they had like so basically when you went to this prison, you went on vacation. And the Venezuelan government went in 2019 and dismantled the Tren de Aragua gang. So here's a video that shows this. This is when they raided the prison and they took out the Tren de Aragua gang and they dismantled and they filled in the pool and all of that stuff. So when they
y lograremos capturarlos a todos, inclusive en el ámbito internacional. Si llegasen a escapar, a huir algunos de los integrantes de todos estos grupos, cómplices y conexiones, los vamos a capturar, porque para ello estamos adelantando coordinaciones y conexiones de carácter diplomático.
That's interesting. So it said in this video that many members of the Trinidad Iragua gang escaped the prisons and escaped into different countries, which would make sense when you see the Venezuelan migrants coming into your country and starting to do crazy shit. So not all of I don't want to demonize my purpose is not to demonize the Venezuelans, but the criminal ones that come over and start to do the crazy shit, have no mercy on them. But the ones that come over and just work and take care of their family or whatever, you let them live, because if you find yourself getting angry with someone lower on the economic scale than you are, chances are that you're being manipulated by someone higher on the scale than both of you are. So pay attention to this, that all of this like demonizing the migrants is meant to separate us. Oh, my algae is starting to act up again. So this is all meant to separate the people, and be careful of when the government tries to do stuff to promote separating. All right. So I think I've made myself clear on how I feel about this occupation that is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. I truly believe this SOE is fake. It is not meant for the purpose that the government said it is for. And I say that because the government stated to us that members of the government are under threat from prison gang forces, and so now we must lock the entire country down to take care of a prison gang. Did I just show you a video on how Venezuela went in and took care of a prison gang that actually had fucking rocket launchers and swimming pools built up in their shit? No state of emergency had to be declared for that. What was done is they went in with their guns and their boots and they broke and cracked some heads. So if you had any kind of intelligence as a Trini, you should be asking yourself, what is this government doing with this state of emergency? So ask yourself, what it really is a state of emergency, right? What is the big deal? Well, you are giving up your rights, your constitutional rights, your freedoms, where the cops can come in, they can access your email messages, your text messages, your WhatsApp, your social media, and all of this can be done without a criminal warrant or without you even doing anything wrong. All you have to say is fuck the UNC, and now you're on a list, right? Because I think the whole purpose of this SOE is not to tackle a gang of people that's limited inside some walls. There's a bigger purpose, and I can't believe that the people of Trinidad and Tobago are so stupid to actually accept this explanation that this government gave. So they had the SOE for a week, or was it 10 days? And then they went and they extended it. The fact that you can't defeat a prison gang in 10 days shows me you are fucking stupid, you're incompetent, or you're corrupt. In 10 days, with the entire country under a state of emergency, you couldn't gather the necessary data to quell whatever problem that initiated this in the first place. So you're getting the citizens used to being under a state of emergency. You're getting them familiar with it. So when harder clamps come for you in the future, you wouldn't protest that much. So this is done as a ruse to soften your mind for when the real boot comes around your throat. So what I think that's happening right now is I think this state of emergency was done by the United States of America, and their purpose behind it is to build up a spy network in Trinidad, so they can have their people that's on their side on one database and the dissidents on another side of the database, so they will know who to target when they actually put boots on the grounds in Trinidad. Because if the United States lands troops on our soil, there will be attacks from citizens internally. There's going to be some Trinidadians that is going to say, fuck that, I don't want no Yankee on my soil. And they will form a part of an insurgency in Trinidad. And the United States government wants to stop that because they did this before in Trinidad. And we had pushback back then. So my next slide, Trinidad under occupation. We were under occupation at one time in the 1940s when they came and they built this base in Wallafield. Right? And we didn't have a government back then. So Trinidad and Tobago, no, England, I should say, England and the United States got into this deal where the United States will give England 50 battleships in trade for Trinidad soil, a lease on Trinidad soil for 99 years. Trinidad and some other countries. I think it was 3 or 4 other countries, a lease on their property for 99 years. So England was the ones who said it was okay to bring troops into Trinidad at first. So this video is like something from YouTube, and it basically talks about the building of Wallafield. But I want you to listen to the message where it talks about like when the Trinis started to act up.
In 1940, war raged across the globe. But far from Europe's front lines, the quiet island of Trinidad was about to change forever. As Nazi U-boats prowled the Atlantic, the United States struck a secret deal with Britain. In exchange for old warships, America would gain access to British bases, including one in Trinidad. Almost overnight, thousands of U.S. troops arrived. The invasion had begun, without a shot fired. Within months, the island was buzzing with construction. Dense forests were cleared for airstrips, barracks, and radar stations. Fields turned into runways. Villages gave way to military zones. Over 10,000 American troops arrived, bringing trucks, bulldozers, and concrete, and changing everything. Locals watched in awe as a quiet colony became a frontline outpost in the war against Hitler's Atlantic threat. Trinidad became the Allies' silent guardian of the Caribbean. From its new airfields, American planes soared into the vast blue, hunting deadly German U-boats lurking beneath.
Oh my God, don't get me started on this. Everything you know about the history of Hitler and Nazi Germany is a fucking lie. And I will teach you that hopefully in the next few months if this channel doesn't get blocked. YouTube actually blocked me for playing this video before. So what I want to do is like I'm narrating above the video, so this way I don't really get I can get a fair use strike possibly because I'm actually commenting on the video, so this is legal under their terms. But I don't want you. I know you've been taught to look at Nazis as the enemies, but I want you to change your thinking on that, and I'll tell you why in the future.
Beneath the waves, convoys loaded with vital oil and supplies passed through these waters, shielded by radar eyes and anti-submarine patrols. Every mission was a tense battle against an invisible enemy, where a single mistake meant disaster. For locals, life changed overnight. New roads, airfields, and jobs arrived. But so did military checkpoints.
Yes, listen to this part, all right? Life for the locals changed. We got the roads, we got the infrastructure, but we also got checkpoints. And if you've been paying attention to the World Economic Forum and what they want to do with 50-minute cities, you should really ask yourself, what the fuck is going on in Trinidad with this government and what they're doing here? So if they bring troops into Trinidad soil, we're going to have to deal with checkpoints again, right? How many of you all are going to like that by a show of hands? I know Maduro did not give me this. This uniform here is actually from the United States military when I was an idiot and I was in love with America and I wanted to give my life for America. I was stupid back then. All right, let's finish playing up this video. I shouldn't be talking above it.
Curfews and culture shock. US dollars flowed into the island, and with them came Coca-Cola, swing music, and Southern accents. Some Trinidadians found work with the Americans. Others bristled at their presence. The island was no longer just a colony. It was a crossroads of empire and a quiet front line. As the months passed, tension simmered. American segregation followed the soldiers overseas. Black U.S. troops were treated as second class, even in a land where most people looked like them. Local resentment grew as bars banned Trinidadians to serve only white Americans. Fights broke out. Communities were divided. Behind the uniformed smiles and swing music, a different kind of war was brewing, one of dignity, race, and respect. In 1942, the war turned deadly. German U-boats reached Caribbean waters, sinking tankers within sight of Trinidad's coast. Explosions lit the night skies as oil fires raged offshore. The American...
I want you to hear that part. And I know you guys can see this happening in Trinidad, right? Bars stopped serving.
As the months passed, tensions simmered. American segregation followed the soldiers overseas. And
Slides unactive. Forgive me for that.
in 1940, came Coca-Cola, swing music.
All right, so let's pause it. Feel free to call in 347-791-3311 on WhatsApp. I would love to hear you. The one viewer that's viewing, I'd love to hear your opinions on this. So, and I know you, and I know you Trinis can see this happening. Local bars stopped serving Trinidad and Tobago residents and instead started to serve the white Americans. How many of you can see UNC people saying and implementing policies like this in Trinidad when this happens again? You know it's gonna happen. You know it.
Music and Southern accents. Some Trinidadians found work with the Americans. Others bristled at their presence. The island was no longer just a colony. It was a crossroads of empire and a quiet front line. As the months passed, tension simmered. American segregation followed the soldiers overseas. Black U.S. troops were treated as second class, even in a land where most people looked like them. Local resentment grew as bars banned Trinidadians to serve only white Americans. Fights broke out. Communities were divided. Behind the uniformed smiles and swing music, a different kind of war was brewing, one of dignity, race, and respect. In 1942, the war turned deadly. German U-boats reached Caribbean waters, sinking tankers within sight of Trinidad's coast. Explosions lit the night skies as oil fires raged offshore. The American bases kicked into high alert. Searchlights scanned the waves, depth charges echoed in the deep, and coastal guns stood ready. For the first time, Trinidadians realized this was no distant war. The enemy was here. Despite the danger, life in Trinidad adjusted to wartime rhythm. Schools held drills. Radios crackled with news from Europe. Blackout curtains went up at dusk. Calypso singers wove the war into their lyrics, blending local humor with global headlines. Bazaars sold rations alongside war bonds. For many, it was surreal. Caribbean sunshine, German torpedoes, and American uniforms, all part of daily life now. The war brought new opportunities. Thousands of Trinidadians took jobs in transport, construction, and clerical work. Some even trained alongside Americans in support roles. But the gap remained, between those who served and those who saluted, between locals and occupiers. As the war dragged on, many began asking, after all this sacrifice, what would change? Would the Americans leave? And what would Trinidad be when they did? By 1945, victory was near. The bases in Trinidad had served their purpose. Patrols were fewer, uniforms faded, and ships sailed home. But the island had changed. Roads, airfields, and a new political awareness remained. For many Trinidadians, the war had opened their eyes. If they could build bases, fuel fleets, and defend the Caribbean, why not govern themselves? The Americans packed up and left, but the impact remained. Roads they carved still shaped cities. The memories of tension, opportunity, and resistance lingered in families. Trinidad had stared down submarines, housed superpowers, and been drawn into the heart of a global war. But out of occupation came awakening. A quiet fire had been lit, and it would burn all the way to independence.
Yo, pussy.
Yeah.
La da 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 da. La da da. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could have cheated and I could have passed, but I got high. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high. I'm serious. I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why.
Turn this shit off.
Yeah, because I got high.
Keep going.
Because I got high.
Hey, do that over, man.
Because I got high.
Come on, man. Come on.
Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high. Say what? Say what? Say what? Say what? Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. I'ma stop singing this song because I'm high. Present tense, baby. I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high. Bring it back. And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man. Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah. Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Oh, bring it back, bring it back. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good.
Son of a bitch, I'm talking and shit. Alright, so gotta start over this whole slide because I'm talking and the microphone was off. Alright, I am back. I am Slimy from the Slimy Show. Feel free to call in WhatsApp 347-791-3311. Let's highlight a tweet from independent journalist Anya Parampil. And it states, since Secretary Rubio is pushing for war in the Western Hemisphere based on evidence reclaims the U.S. is targeting narco traffickers, let's recall that his own brother-in-law was a leading cocaine cowboy in 1980s Miami. I want to test this mic to see if this microphone works. Rubio lived in the home at the center of the drug ring. My book, Corporate Coup, Venezuela and the End of U.S. Empire, details the shady character of Trump's pick for Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Did you know he fabricated his family history and once lived in one of Miami's most notorious cocaine dens, which his brother-in-law ran? So, this is why Secretary of State Marco Rubio has a nickname called Narco Rubio.
I'm high. Present tense, baby. I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high. Bring it back. And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man. Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah. Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Yeah. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room.
Okay, let's get into this video where we're being clowned by one of the most popular independent YouTube shows in the world, Jimmy Dore.
Of an explosion. Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio first announced the strike earlier Tuesday, shortly before Rubio left on a trip to Mexico and Ecuador for talks on drug cartels, security, tariffs, and more. In a brief exchange with reporters before departing Miami for Mexico City, Rubio deferred questions about the specifics of the strike to the Pentagon. He said the drugs on that vessel were likely headed to Trinidad or elsewhere in the Caribbean. So now we're patrolling Trinidad. We're doing international policing on behest of Trinidad? Here he is saying it. Here he is.
The president is going to be on offense against drug cartels and drug trafficking in the United States. It destabilizes not just the country, but the entire Caribbean basin. These particular drugs were probably headed to Trinidad or some other country in the Caribbean, at which point they just contribute to the instability.
So that's it. We're all too aware of the notorious and ongoing instability caused by drugs flooding into the nation of Trinidad.
First of all, no one knows who the fuck we are in Trinidad for Marco Rubio. And this is why you know there's something deeper going on to this stuff with this government and the United States. All of a sudden now we are being highlighted on the world stage in a very, very negative way. It's time for you all to wake up, huh? I'm wiping off the frickin' my makeup. All right, I'll be right back.
I'ma stop singing this song because I'm high. Present tense, baby. I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high. Bring it back. And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man. Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah. Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Oh, bring it back, bring it back. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. I was gonna clean my room until I got high.
All right, testing with music in the background. Testing with the music in the background. The SLAC countries condemn and express concern over a military presence in the region. Notably not present, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Jamaica. Trinidad and Tobago I could understand, and Guyana. What the fuck is going on with Jamaica? So this is what I talked about earlier, where I talked about the fracture of the Caricom countries. So a statement by member states of the Community of Latin America and Caribbean States (CELAC) on extra-regional military presence in the region. Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Cuba, Dominica, Grenada, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela as countries comprising the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, expressed their deep concern regarding the recent deployment of extra-regional military forces in the region. In this regard, it is recalled that Latin America and the Caribbean have been proclaimed a zone of peace, a commitment adopted by all member states based on principles such as the prescription of the threat or use of force. Prescription means prohibition. Peaceful settlement of disputes, the promotion of dialogue and multilateralism, the unrestricted respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, non-interference in the internal affairs of states, and the inalienable rights of peoples to self-determination. We also emphasize that the Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in Latin America and the Caribbean Treaty of whatever constitutes a historic milestone that made our region the first densely populated zone in the world free of such weaponry. This treaty reflects the vocation of our people for peace, collective security, and the definitive prescription of nuclear weapons as a means of coercion or threat. So, the actions of the United States and Trinidad and Tobago are in against this treaty. What is it called? To let Lulco? Oh, how disappointing. Furthermore, we recognize that transnational organized crime and drug trafficking pose a significant threat to achieving peaceful and inclusive societies. Therefore, we reaffirm our will to combat them as a priority, enhancing the regional and international cooperation and coordination within the framework for international law and in compliance with existing legal framework and international conventions. The CELAC countries signing this declaration call for the promotion of a secure environment and reiterate their firm commitment to defending peace, stability, democracy, and development throughout the region. Oh, this was a good video with Rand Paul. I'm sorry I didn't have it up on this slide. So Rand Paul, on some striking a Venezuelan boat and killing 11 people, he might ask the question, where does it end? Are we the world policemen? Are we going to be blowing up people off the coast all around the world? This is a really constitutional duty of our government. So, as I stated to you before, the president of what country is that? Manuel Duterte. He is currently in The Hague in an international prison because of his actions where he extrajudiciously killed drug dealers and drug traffickers in his country. So Kamla Persad Bissessar, by supporting the actions of this terrorist government, by siding her government with these terrorists, has made herself open to international charges. And this next slide should be a slapping in the face to everyone. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Thursday that the United States is designating two Ecuadorian gangs as foreign terrorist organizations in the Trump administration's latest move against cartels. Who is Ecuador, and what is Ecuador's role in the whole movement of cocaine in the world. Isn't like 60% of the cocaine passes through Ecuador? Shouldn't the United States be focusing, if their real mission was to combat drugs in the Caribbean, wouldn't their focus should be in Ecuador?
I'm singing this whole thing wrong because I'm high.
I like you think about that.
And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could've cheated and I could've passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high. I'm serious. I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high.
A mí no me compare con mujeres de ciudades, que yo tengo esencia criolla. Caramba, vale, no hay como ven el estero al pitar de un toro fiero, disfrutando el canto. Yo sí sé montar un caballo a pelo, enlaza un toro cerrero y prepara una morrona. Óigame fama, usted a mí no me compare con mujeres de ciudades, que yo tengo esencia criolla. Caramba, vale, no hay como ven el estero al pitar de un toro fiero, disfrutando el canto de aves. Si usted no sabe, venga que yo se lo enseño, pa' que vea lo que es bueno y se cure todos los males. Yo tengo raza de don Francisco Montoya, continuando su legado, ahora soy quien da la hora. Siempre he escuchado el silbón en la llanura, de Portuguesa coge desde Guarico hasta Arichuna. Han pasado varias lunas y no he visto que se seque la laguna. Venga usted, amigo mío, pa' que vea lo que tiene pa' ofrecerle mi llanura. Caramba, vale, no hay como ven el estero, el pitar de un toro fiero, disfrutando el canto de aves. Si usted no sabe... Yo sí sé montar un caballo a pelo, enlaza un toro cerrero y prepara una morrona. Óigame fama, usted a mí no me compare con mujeres de ciudades, que yo tengo esencia criolla. Caramba, vale, no hay como ven el estero al pitar de un toro fiero, disfrutando el canto de aves. Si usted no sabe, venga que yo se lo enseño, pa' que vea lo que es bueno y se cure todos los males. tengo raza de don Francisco Montoya, continuando su legado, ahora soy quien da la hora. Siempre he escuchado el silbón en la llanura, de Portuguesa coge desde Guarico hasta Arichuna. Han pasado varias lunas y no he visto que se seque la laguna. Venga usted, amigo mío, para que vea lo que tiene para ofrecerle mi llanura. Caramba, vale, no hay como ven el estero, el pitar de un toro fiero, disfrutando el canto de aves. Si usted no sabe...
347-791-3311. I look forward to hearing from you next time. Thank you for coming in, and good night. I love you. Karen, if that's you on the live, I love you, and maybe you should start listening to me more often. Life would be better for the both of us. Fuego, fuego, war. We at war. This is a fight for the lives and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Like and subscribe. Follow the Slimy Show. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. I'll fix this graphic behind me. It looks really shitty. I think I'm gonna put up like a Slimy Show graphic next time. So, Commander Slimy, we are out. All right, how to do this?
I lost my kids and wife because I got high. Say what? Say what? Say what? Say what? Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk and I the blunt. Yeah. Oh, la da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could've cheated and I could've passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high.
All right, hang on. Before I go, I'd like to announce the Bitcoin prices for this weekend at 12:57 a.m. 9/20/2025. Bitcoin is currently hovering above $115,640. XLM, which I'm heavily invested in, is hovering at 38 cents, 38.3876 cents. Ethereum, which I'm also in, is at 44.75. Litecoin is at $114. Bitcoin Cash, which I'm also in, I was a dumbass not to sell when it got up to 648. I figured this would ride up to $700, but instead it made this boost from 596 up to 648. So I'm in a lower, like around like 575. Like when you're trading this stock, it's kind of hard to predict where the chart is going to go. So you have to, like, one of the tricks that I use is like you get yourself familiar with one crypto and how it trades. For example, Solana has been a token that I've been trading for the past 4 years, and I've ridden this up from all the way down when it was $7. So this Solana rode all the way from $7. When was it? 2 years ago, and right now it's at $238. And I'm currently in this. I think I might have sold around 204, and I was waiting for this to dip lower to 189, but because this Solana crypto, it has this tendency to, whenever it get like a significant boost, it always gets like smashed down. There's like a community. There's a community of traders online that actually target Solana, and it's called like a skeet crypto, where it's easily shorted, and peaks like this get smacked down. So I was kind of, I wouldn't say stupid, but I sold like around 204, and I missed out on this run from 204 to 238. Dogecoin is currently hovering at around 26 cents. I got into Doge around 8 cents, and when it rode up to 40 cents was in January, I sold, and I rebought in at 40 cents and around this level also. So Doge is currently hovering at 26. So that is your crypto slimy report for the weekend of 9/20/2025, 1 a.m. So crypto usually on the weekends usually takes on Friday, from Thursday to Friday, usually with crypto, you tend to see these spikes in the market. But this weekend there was nothing significant when it came to the crypto market. I was expecting Ethereum to be around 5,000 right now, but for some reason Ethereum is not riding. So I got into here like around 3,800, I think, and I didn't sell when it got up to this point. I figured it would go higher, but instead it's slowly trickling back down. So if you're in Trini and you want to get into investing, this is the channel you need to like and subscribe to. So that is your crypto report for this week. It's in English and Spanish. All right. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm tired. I'm falling asleep. I've been doing this for how many hours now? Thank you for being with me. You one viewer, whoever you are, you should say something in the chat. Thank you for coming by. Love you. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm gonna call it a night soon. Good night, guys.
Now I'm sleeping on the side. Another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Yeah. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could've cheated and I could've passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high. I'm serious. I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why. Turn this shit off. Yeah, because I got high. Keep going. Because I got high. Hey, do that over, because man. I got high. Come on, man. Come on. Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high. Say what? Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk. doing this whole thing wrong because I'm high. Bring it back. And if I don't sell one copy, I don't know why. Why, man? Yeah, hey, cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Cause I'm high. Are you really high though, man? He really is high, man. Shoop, shoop, shooby doo wah. Get jiggy with it. Skippity bee bop. Roll another blunt. Yeah. Oh, good. La da 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 da. La da da. La da da da. La da da da. La da da da. Yeah. I was gonna clean my room until I got high. I was gonna get up and find the broom, but then I got high. My room is still messed up, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna go to class before I got high. Come on, y'all. Check it out. I could have cheated and I could have passed, but I got high. La da. I'm taking it next semester, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high. No, you wasn't. They took my whole paycheck, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I wasn't gonna run from the cops, but I was high. I'm serious, man. I was gonna pull right over and stop, but I was high. La da da. Now I'm a paraplegic, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La da 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 da. I was gonna make love to you, but then I got high. I'm serious. I was gonna eat your pussy too, but then I got high. Now I'm jacking off, and I know why. Turn this shit off. Yeah, because I got high. Keep going. Because I got high. Hey, do that over, because man. I got high. Come on, man. Come on. Go. I messed up my entire life because I got high. Go. I lost my kids and wife because I got high. Say what? Now I'm sleeping on the sidewalk, and I know why. Why, man? Yeah, cause I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high.